Muted. That's why. That's why. That's why it wasn't working, because the mute was on. Damn it. Yep, it's coming. It's coming. People are watching, man. Just you wait. You think it's good now. Just you wait. You have no idea what's coming. No idea. No idea at all, I tell you. I'll put that in there. And then we'll come over here. This is how it works. Like, you think I'd have all this done by now. Hey guys. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. We got a guest here. Let's see. Admit one. Let's see here. Where is the thing and the thing and the thing? Amanda, are you there?
Holy lordy.
James True to Amanda. James True to Amanda.
I'm here. I am here. Over.
Roger that, Amanda. I hear you loud and clear. You look great. I see you. You do not. Do you see me? That's the question. Wait. I think gallery mode.
You
do not see me. Now do you?
Now I'm turning. I believe I see you.
Now, how's it going?
It is going well.
Fantastic.
It's one of those like active forever days that just doesn't seem to end, and here we are still.
Yeah, and to really make it not end, you're going to spend some time with me. So I will take that time and bring it to a curling halt. It will be the most painful thing you've done today.
I like it. Good pain, though, right?
That's right.
Okay, I'm gonna go live on my phone quick and then
yeah.
send them.
And I'm actually brewing coffee. So at one point I'm going to have to. I don't have to, but.
Well, I can carry, the story along.
You think you can carry my show? You think you got what it takes? All right.
I got space, so.
I told everyone you'd be in the bathtub, so they're already kind of like, huh?
Oh, I mean, I can just get naked. Like, it don't have to be. Well, maybe not. Okay, forget it. This is my plants or friends shirt.
One of us is going to have to get in the bathtub. That's all I'm trying to say. And if we did a poll, I get the feeling that I would not win that poll.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't mind seeing in the bathtub.
That's what they all say.
Do I get a vote?
Boy, do they all say that at the beginning. And that tune changes very fast. I'm going to pop over to D-Live here to make sure that this is coming in good. Boy, do they all say yes, I have to mute this, that's all. And,
okay, I'm hold on here.
Yeah, all right, they've already figured it out that we're not wearing pants. This sucks.
Well, then, sorry. I mean, we have imaginations. Just use it. Why not?
Okay, that's
imagine.
So guys, this is like the intermission. We're tuning, okay? We're tuning our social medias right now. That's what you're watching. Right?
Exactly.
That's the sound of tuning.
Tuning what? A tuba?
It's like an orchestra. We're an orchestra of people.
Oh.
That's
all right. I'm going live. I'm scaring them all.
All right, great. I'm pouring coffee, okay? I'm pouring coffee. Are you cool with that?
I smiled for a thumbnail. Okay. It's pretty cheesy. I might have to do that again. That was scary. I don't want to scare people away. Retake. How should I do it? Regally? No, that's dumb too. You know how hard this stuff is? Because you got your nose like this and just marketing people. Coffee at this time of day?
Well, yeah. Usually don't think I can live stream without it. I don't actually drink it. I tend to drink water, but it's a comforting thing.
Yeah, I sometimes drink decaf because of I love coffee in all its way. So
yeah, I would launch a crusade to destroy people that drink decaf. So I'm just taking a lot of restraint right now to carry
Hi,
on.
team. Okay, I'm live. I'm live in 2 different places. This is what's happened now. Okay, let me update my peeps for a second on what's happening. So here's the deal. James True and I are live right now on James True, his channel. Okay, go over there. And I probably should give you the link. But if you just write in James True, it's pretty cut and dry. You should be able to find us. And we're live right now. And what's happening is we're trying to be consistent, hopefully. My day got a real head of me, but at Fridays at 6, Aaron said, please put that coffee in an enema immediately. So go do that right now. That's what we can watch us do. Give you an enema. That's exciting. I did have that idea, by the way, to do a live enema shot.
I did not have that idea. That's never been my idea once, nor will it
now
ever
you know
be.
this woman's brain. That actually could contemplate.
I don't think that's the brain thinking that. I think that's a different part. That's like the
alchemist healer part of me.
I don't know.
That was a perfectly normal thought process for me. We should really do this live and show people from beginning to end how to do a coffee enema. Don't you agree? I think my people agree. So I'm not going to stay on this live stream. I'm just doing it because what was supposed to happen is we were supposed to live stream on my channel, but I didn't have time to get the tutelage of the brilliant James True on how to use Restream and all of these doohickeys. Mm-hmm. But we will, and we'll probably do something cool where we can all do it together. One big live streaming orgy. But we're not quite there yet. So for now, this is what's happening. And I just wanted to give you a heads up that you can head on over there and patronize us all you want. And there it is. So I guess from 6 to 7 till whenever we end, whenever we decide.
No one ever knows how long it takes for me to get out what I got to get out.
No one knows.
All you can do is just watch it happen, Amanda. Just watch it happen. I've given you...
I blushed.
I've given you a link to the YouTube if you haven't... if you didn't have that handy. That way you could send those to them.
My God. You're so smart, Jane. Don't you love people who talk like that? What is with that? Why do people talk like that? What is happening to their poor little brains? Oh, look, I'm looking at myself. Oh my gosh, this is actually very confusing. Okay, here I am. I'm going to put it in the link. I'm going to add if I can. Can I write in my own live a link? It's not letting me. Top chat, live chat. Okay, I'll have to do that after because I can't seem to add the thing. There's never been a cure for stupid.
Yeah, if you guys are on my channel, if you are really versed, pop over to Amanda's channel and post a link in that chat from this chat.
Help us.
And see what happens.
Help yourself.
This is the telethon, and you are in hour 1 of the telethon, and we are not asking for donations or money. We are asking you for help with IT. And in order to get that, we need you to pledge right now a link to James True from Amanda's channel. And by pledging that link, you're going to get a tote bag. Amanda, show them the tote bag.
Here it is.
Right? You're going to get a tote bag. You're going to get a CD. And you're going to get a letter.
A crystal. And you're getting a crystal.
And a crystal. All right?
Yeah.
So do that. And yeah.
We would never do that to you. We'll talk about masks, I think, a little bit.
We should talk about Pizzagate. We should talk about WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
And we should tell people that if they have something that they would like for us to talk about, that it's an excellent opportunity to submit that in some way through some sort of scrying device that we call a chat room.
Yes. Please use the scrying device to send us topics of discussion as well as the IT work we've requested.
Right. Well, don't forget the IT work.
Have spoken.
Yes. Don't forget the IT work. In fact, I did a follow-up live stream today, and I can't get it to download off DLive. It'd be great if I could, but it's not happening.
It's not going to happen.
Today I spoke about Lucifer, and a lot of people got upset.
Oh.
And,
is it like Lucifer?
Some people get kind of butthurt when you talk about things like that. We have butthurt inside ourselves, and some of us find ways to secrete that butthurt from other people by telling them things. And I'm one of those people. I am a butthurt extractor. I extract butthurt from people by just telling them things.
Oh man, of
It's
course. But that's your role.
it's
That's
a
part of. Oh,
it's a histonics technique I have. I'm using the instrument of sound. I'm broadcasting that sound into someone's ears, and that's causing this butthurt to shake itself loose and release, and it comes out in really odd ways, but that it's okay. The point is for it to come out, and it gets out, and that's why I do what I do. It's
and
all.
that's why you need an enema, because an enema will give you the right kind of butt hurt
I'm
and
already
will
not liking where this is going.
clean you right out.
I already feel
So
like that this is some Luciferian agenda that you have that's that's involving
Lucifer really, really loves enemas. So there's your controversial discussion topic for today.
all right, Amanda, can you tell my viewers who you are, why you're here,
Yeah.
what's your
And
favorite
so I'm going to
colors?
go off this live now. So bye. So join us over there because I can't hold this thing up because my arm will fall out. So we'll see you over there. Bye. Let me end that now. Okay. Well, it's been like my whole life finding out who I am.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest. And you wherever evolving, changing, growing, layering up. But what I did or how I've come to now is I did a lot of seeking. I'm a seeker. I'm an alchemist, and I listen to nature, and I read a lot, and I studied a lot. So I did like so much schooling. It's preposterous. No one should do the amount of schooling I did. I think it's actually ridiculous. But there I am. That's what happened. I, actually had to even take extra high school because I changed my major in the final year of high school completely. I went from arts, from writing, from painting. I was an artist. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just create art. That's what I love to do. I love writing short stories. I was writing all kinds of children's books and stories. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And then my love of nature and my love of animals. When I was told that maybe I can't actually make money being an artist, I was like, so I would be like starving on the street if I actually pursued what I thought I was supposed to do. All right, well then I just did a 180 and I decided I wanted to be a veterinarian because at least animals are innocent. They need someone else's voice to speak for them. That's where my thinking was. And then I decided to go to the University of Guelph, which is in Canada. I'm in Canada. I'm in Ontario, and that's like a predominant vet school. That's like the school you go to if you're in Ontario to get trained. And I got all my volunteer hours, hundreds of hours. I did courses. I did homeopathic animal courses. I worked with my mentor. He was a veterinarian and an ND, a naturopathic doctor, and an acupuncturist trained in China. Like he was like incredible, like what this guy was doing, and genius. And he taught me all about Chinese medicine, and he encouraged me to just keep learning. And so he was my a true mentor, and I was his apprentice. I mean, we would see animals being brought in barely conscious, not able to walk. He does acupuncture, gives them herbs, and they walk out the door, right? And
Wow.
I'm watching this happening.
Wow.
And so I went to my vet interview, which I got, which was also fortunate because they don't give too many of those out. And they had this good cop, bad cop routine, and they basically said, "Oh, you're a quack." I'm like, "What? Pardon me? Like, do you even know who Dr. Stephen Marsden is? Like, are you like?" And then I knew they were the fraud, because if you knew anything about what this man had done, then you're the quack, because this guy is incredible and you're a loser, and I don't want anything to do with your institution anyway. And I'm sorry you're so close-minded, but bye-bye. And then I was really upset, obviously, all that time and all that energy and all the training and all the stuff I had to do for free, all the dog kennels I had to clean out, all the surgeries I performed for no pay, all that, to have to just go out of that. And And then I applied for naturopathic college because that's what, this is after university. I had to go to university, obviously, before you even can go to vet school, before you can go to naturopathic college. You have to have a 4-year undergrad degree before you can even do any of those schooling. So this was after that. So I sort of skipped a chunk. But, that I learned so much. I traveled in between there. I worked at the University of Alberta in the vivisection because I had all the animal training. So I used it to make some money to pay off my university costs and my travel costs and stuff. And then I ended up learning about science in the halls of really scientific vivisection experiments.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm taking care of animals that they're doing the drug studies on, right?
Wow.
And I'm assisting the scientific. So the scientists will have their assistants, and the assistants often will be the ones that run the trials on animals, the animal models. So my eyes open wide to that system, to that. So easy to manipulate statistics, so easy to just keep the grant money going and just recycle your studies, and it's just ridiculous. And it just opened me to all of these different layers. And when I did go to university, I went out west, University of Lethbridge, because I wanted a smaller school. I wanted one-on-one with teachers, and it was great. It was a perfect school for me. And my undergrad is a Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Biotechnology, and that was all the setup to go to vet school because that's the one I needed. Those were all the biochemistry and chemistry credits and all of the math and everything that I needed to apply. And so I have a biotech degree. Like we were doing, genetically modified organisms in the lab. I've done that myself. And so again, it was like life kept setting me up to see all of these layers of the world. And like, I know firsthand that genetically modified organisms, that's a dangerous game that people are playing. We're messing around with seeds, we're messing around with genetics, we're doing some real weird stuff to nature. And I've done it to the point where I realize it's a Russian roulette, really, kind of thing. So all of like that kind of training and travel and education and stuff, and then I graduated naturopathic college, and I was really political. Like, you think I have a big mouth now. This is me tempered. So I was really vocal. I was very passionate about naturopathic medicine. Being a nature doctor is a huge thing in a world where you have an entire pharmaceutical industry been manipulating the situation for a couple hundred years, really. Since Rockefeller, at least, and probably even before then, right? So I was very passionate about that, and I started seeing some weird things in the board of naturopathic board, and it wasn't right. Like, I'm seeing Health Canada influences, I'm seeing all kinds of just crazy ideas, and what I realized is the way they capture these institutions is that if you're not one of them, then you better play by the rules that they lay out or they'll destroy you. And that's really what was happening. They're like, well, you need to get NPN numbers on all your supplements in Canada. You can't, everything has to be tightly regulated. We have to prove that, vitamin C is not dangerous. Meanwhile, their drugs kill how many people? Vitamin C's never killed anybody, but still we had to prove safety way to this degree that was ridiculous, right? And I started speaking out about that. I was working with Dr. Carolyn Dean. I was working with a lawyer called Truman Tuck, and I was the only naturopath in all of Canada, and I think even elsewhere, to be honest, because I never met anyone else doing what I was doing. And I was going up against them, and I was saying, this is wrong, here's the law. I had a binder, I still have it, a binder, the charter and like the Magna Carta and like all of these things that they were doing incorrectly and how to like get around these problems. And I got blacklisted bad, like in first year. So when it came time for me to graduate and get licensed, they weren't going to have it. And I graduated, but they wouldn't license me. And it was crazy. They destroyed my entire career. I just couldn't even believe that. It was like with the vet thing, like you do this to people? Like, I was still naive, like you hurt people like that? Like you say you're a healer and you say that, these things, and then you would do that to somebody? Like, that's that was mind blowing to me. I didn't really want anything to do with them after that point. But it put me, in poverty basically. And like a lot of spiritual awakenings go, you end up homeless on the street, no money, by yourself, wondering what the hell just happened to your life. And that's where I was at. And then I got pregnant because I had a rescuer complex where I kept rescuing all my mates, right? So I would meet a man who was still needed a mommy and still was, injured significantly. And I saw his potential. So I would just, say, oh, no problem. I'll do my alchemy on you and fix you right up.
I've never heard of anyone doing that ever before.
No, I
ever.
know. Very uncommon.
You're a trailblazer, Amanda. You're a trailblazer. What? You're a trailblazer is what you are.
I am. I really am.
Yep.
Well, maybe in other things, but definitely not on that topic. And then when I got pregnant, I realized, I think I do want to have a baby. I didn't originally. I had no interest in it whatsoever. And because I was like, this is my last incarnation. I'm not making any more karma. I'm out of this joint. I'll come here as a bodhisattva. I'll come here compassionately, and I will help and do whatever. But I'm out of here when we're done. So I don't want to get tied down to this place. So that's what my thinking was. And then I got pregnant, and I wanted that. Maybe it's hormones, whatever. Karma still was there, and I moved up north because my partner wasn't stable. He couldn't hold down a job, and it was. I tried to help this one, and it was too. When trauma is from an infant, like an infant, like 1 year old trauma, it's very stuck. It's very hard to heal that. There's no logic that you can apply to that. You can't do talk therapy with that kind of stuff. Maybe art therapy, but the shadow work I was doing with him, it was not transforming him enough that he would step up and really be the role of father for her. And then I found this place up here, and I started Yum Naturals, which I called Yummy Mummy Emporium and Apothecary, because everything I was doing was for moms and babies and stuff at the beginning. And then my medicine just started infusing into it, and I started making natural products, and I loved it. My true alchemist came out at that point. I'm like, ooh, I can put a little bit of that with a little bit of this, and I can put that botanical with this thing and make that cream, and so I found a new love doing that, which I would never probably have even figured it out, I think, if I had just continued on as a licensed ND, which is like paperwork. And, I see clients still. It's a limited scope of practice, but I'm trained enough that I help a lot of people. So it's almost like I got the best of both. I don't have to worry about the licensing and the group entity telling me what to do. Right, because that's what license is. It's basically like, shut up, because NDs aren't even allowed to talk about COVID. They aren't allowed to talk about vaccines. I have 20 years of vaccine research under my belt, right? That's a passion of mine. And I'm, as an ND license, I wouldn't be able to talk about that. Right. Are you crazy? It's just not going to happen. I know myself. I have a big mouth. It's just not going to happen, right? So that's like how I got to here, and now I'm talking to you. I don't even know how did this even happen. How am I talking to you right now?
Well, I picked you up in a bar. You were really drunk. Like
fill me in.
Brutally drunk.
Yeah.
You were going on about vaccines. I thought it was kind of hot. And yeah, next thing you know, we're live streaming together. So yeah.
Well,
works out for me.
I feel good.
Have you ever given a vaccine?
Given?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Well,
how would I do that?
I didn't. Who knows? I've been in the Navy. I've given a few shots to people.
No, I did. I've taken a lot of blood.
Mm-hmm. You've taken a lot of blood. Okay.
And I've given a lot of nutrients because I've
trained a little note here.
IV therapy.
Right.
I definitely didn't. I would never do such a.
So you've never been in a position where that was required or anything like that, right?
No.
Yeah.
NDs aren't. It's not even supposed to be in an ND scope of practice.
Right.
Vaccines.
I think that there is a ritual there, Amanda. The moment you give your first vaccine, I don't mean you. The moment you give your first
Yes.
vaccine, you go through a portal, a doorway, and that doorway is a one-way door. I don't think that most doctors have the correct fortitude required to come back through that door once they step through. There's a threshold that happens, and you've taken you believe that you've taken an oath to do no harm. You believe that you've committed all of your resources to helping people, and the idea that you would do something damaging is so beyond the scope of what your adrenals are capable of even witnessing you do, that you're not able to come back from that. I think there's a lot of rituals like that. I think killing someone in the military is one of those rituals. I think killing someone as a cop is one of those rituals. And I believe that giving a vaccine is one of those rituals. There are many. There are many, many, many. But these are the thresholds where we think we can come back from, and we try and come back from. But those are the genetic trauma that we epigenetically install for a very, 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 very long time. And I would say that one generation doesn't actually even have enough time to even process that threshold. Because the first thing you do when you enter the threshold is you justify it. So you will spend years, if not decades, justifying the vaccines are safe and effective. You will do that. You will do it so hard that you will find people like me that are looking into Takeda 2 years ago, looking into the largest ever settlement for $19 billion against Takeda for not disclosing that their drug was causing something that they knew it was causing. And in the research, you're finding these holes. And the moment you find those holes, people are flipping out. Doctors are flipping out that you're finding these holes. They're getting angry. They're getting brash. They're getting irrational. They're getting so irrational that they're reduced to ad hominem. They're reduced to logical fallacies to try and stave off who you are, not what you're saying, even who you are. It gets that childish, that elementary. And so you're looking at a deep electrical wound that they've entered into. And frankly, none of us are discussing how you come back from that, because it's 10 years probably of experience that you have to literally put on the fire and burn. Watch it fucking burn. All those credentials, all that experience has to burn before you are ready to alchemically transmit that calcination, before you're even ready to even admit it. That even admitting it, I don't think most doctors would ever be able to do in their lifetime.
I mean, I have seen a few, very few, I mean, very few remorseful doctors when they come around to it. They've left the industry because that's the only exit. You'd have to leave the industry. You can't continue on working in that. And I think the rest of their lives will be in that remorse state, especially if they continue to learn more about the damage that's being done. And as it continues to etch away at them, because it's a heavy weight for sure. I mean, it's like, how do you deal with a guilt load like that? You would probably have to be at least, start to go into some sort of service for humankind. You know what I mean? Like some sort of, people would normally be, I would say, if I was remorseful about something that I did to that extent, I would be immediately trying to correct on any level how I could possibly make up for that. You know what I mean? So that would be some sort of service work. Maybe it goes to a different country that have different challenges. Maybe you go to impoverished nation and try to help or something, or stop vaccines in some way, because the people who are in impoverished countries get targeted, by these things. So, but that, you're right. It's a very, you don't just, you're in regret and remorse space, after that point, if you do admit that you've made terrible errors. But I have seen testimonies of doctors who have come out and said that, publicly. So
Yeah.
obviously there are many who regret that, and other MDs that, have gone through some level of that.
I would say that you could count those people that have come out on a couple of hands, compared to literally thousands that won't come out, that will never come out, that even know maybe that they should come out, but there's no fucking way they're coming out. And I'm talking about no on a lower level. I'm not talking about neocortex no. I'm talking about limbically they know. They know. And their neocortex is not going to allow that to prop up. They're gonna mask it as something else, right? They're gonna call it Dunning-Kruger. That's what they're gonna call it. They're gonna say this is a case of Dunning-Kruger. What we have here is a parent, a homeschooling mother, who has done 4 or 5 years of research on vaccines and knows more than that than I do. And I have given hundreds of vaccines since I've been here. How the fuck do I justify this? And the only thing I can do is to apply this label that's been given to me by the AMA called Dunning-Kruger. And I can apply that to you like a saran wrap. I can wrap that mother in that saran wrap and say, you have Dunning-Kruger, which is a disorder, which means that you are too ignorant to understand how complicated it is, which is why I'm not able to explain it to you, even though you're the one giving me the facts. Like that's literally what's happening in real time. And as you give witness to that, someone like me gives a strong witness. I am a salty witness. And when someone is in my presence, they feel that witness. They get angry because they feel that witness is not subdued, right? That the Dunning-Kruger just bounces right off. And there I am, stoically going, yeah, what else you got? Mm-hmm. And that's what I see. That's what I see 95% of the time, at least on social media. And mm-hmm. I get into this. I was a non-truther until Dr. Timothy Cunningham showed up dead near the CDC, former CDC head, washed up on the shores of the Chattahoochee. I used to run that river. It made me look. I was not a truther until then. It was only through looking at that I was like, what the fuck is going on? And that's what I've seen since. That 95% zombie land, zombie white coat land.
Yeah, it's pretty deep, and there's all these mechanisms that they use to bat that away as best they can, because they don't have the direct assault like what you provide. There's not too many James Trues that are standing in front of them. Mostly what they'll have is a worried parent, mm-hmm. right? That they feel they can manipulate, or they can bully, or they can just set fire. I was fired. And I'm fired from free healthcare. I don't even know how that even works, but I got fired because I originally thought I want to have conversations with MDs about mm-hmm. this stuff. And I'm going to get one for my daughter so that I can help them get through some of this. And I would also like to talk to a medical professional on at least some level, because I'm medically trained, that because I'm a parent and that's my child, and I don't have the same objectivity when it's your own close stuff. And I just would like a reflector. Really, that's all the rules that I wanted from them, is just someone I can speak to, medical term to medical term, and get a feedback right. that could clarify anything for me in case I did need something for my daughter. Mm-hmm. And I guess they don't care about weighing them and making sure growth milestones are met, or making sure that, if they have any rashes, or if they have sleeping issues or behavior issues, are irrelevant. If you don't vaccinate, there's nothing else they've got for you. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what they told me, right? And I'm not the only one. Many, many parents have been let go. And it was, you know what? I said, fire you right back. We're good. I'm good. I'm fine. Never been to a doctor, never been to a hospital. My child born at home. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm glad for it now. I actually thank that doctor for firing me now, because I realized something more than where I was at with that. And that is, I have all of the knowledge I need as a tuned in mother to support and help my own child. So I got breast milk for food. We're good. I am at least educated on how to eat and take care of my own health. So I know how to do that. I know how to make healthy meals. I know how to not give my child poisoned fluoride water and these kinds of things. So my child doesn't need you because my child never gets sick. And 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 that's the truth of the matter. And I saw that firsthand by my own experience, that if you actually fire them and you know the basics of life, of nature, you they don't get sick. They might skin their knee, they might hurt themselves, but even that, if you're an attentive parent, for the most part, you can let them hurt themselves when they're young enough so they learn how not to. Like, I never was a helicopter parent. So I let her, skin her knee and burn her hand and do the things she needed to do to learn. And she has incredible balance. She has incredible skills. And when you don't vaccinate them and throw off their entire, HPA access, or their endocrine system and their DNA, they have other skills that we don't see as much, in the general population anymore. Like real fine athletics, for example, right? And then they're not as clumsy and they don't have as many accidents. So it's all those things. And when you do confront an MD, they don't have a lot. I mean, I'm pretty strong. I'm the oily side of that, obviously. But I can present that pretty strong, and I have to some. But usually they will run away. Run away. I don't even get to have the conversations,
Right,
because
right.
they won't engage. So that's how that's the.
Yeah, that's what I see almost all the time. There's always a quick caloric dump at the very beginning where they think, well, I'll take care of this. I'll just say a fancy word. And then they won't understand that, or they'll see really quick, oh shit, he knows that fancy word. I need to back out. This is too caloric of a battle for me. That's what I see mostly. And what I see mostly is not an army of doctors that are malicious. I don't see psychopathy. I see narcissism.
Yes.
I see a loss in the pedestal. I see a dedication to the costume that they wear, and it's always that. I can't I don't mean to oversimplify it, but guys, it's always the uniform. It's always the ritual garb. When you're seeing someone in ritual garb, they have a protective electrical field around them that says, I am staff, I am the speaker for the zeitgeist. And you are allowed to evacuate your morality during that quest. You're allowed to say, no, I'm sorry, we're not. I'm sorry, the dining room's closed. Oh, but I'm hungry. Yes, I know, I'm sorry, but the dining room's closed. Yeah, I'm sorry. Please. You're allowed to do it. There's no remorse. You go to bed feeling totally fine. You're good. And so what you end up happening is that you find out the way to initiate someone to be a loyal costume wearer is to put them through trauma. And I don't know how it works up in your crazy land called Canada, but down here in America, doctors are basically run through a gauntlet initiation ceremony. And it's disguised as, we have to teach you everything. It's disguised at that. It looks like this is a massive educational dump in your system, but it's not. It's not. This is a 20-hour a day field march. This is what Navy does. Navy SEALs do this. It's designed to be traumatic, to make you fall into the system. It's a bond. It's a trauma bond, basically.
Oh yeah.
And when there's a crash cart involved, when you're running through the ER, when you're doing anything else, when you're there, you've already given a shot before you're even a doctor. You've already succumbed to the system because you entered it into it as, I'm here to learn how to give a shot. I'm not here to market the ethical implications and put it on a whiteboard to discuss what's in the shot. I'm not qualified for that. I'm here to learn how to administer a shot. And that's how they fucking get you. Because they've broken the entire thing down into a systematic procedure where you have to pass gauntlet after gauntlet after gauntlet. And they create that system where, I want this gauntlet. Okay, now you know how to give a shot. Great. Now you learn how to clear a bag. Now you know how to attach a respirator. Whatever it is. You're not a person. You are someone who's fulfilling the obligations of a gauntlet. And I can't help but think that this is exactly why Rockefeller created the General Education Fund. This is why we sued over half of any practitioner if you're a practitioner, half of you were sued by the FDA when Rockefeller was taking over medicine. Half. And you end up with the exact same schools, funded by the exact same organizations, head up by the exact same people that have all contributed to what's called a local government squad designed to produce nationwide medicine. And so, under the auspices of government, under the auspices of care, the entire petroleum industry was installed as a healing center, as a center for healing. And I believe that that is when this Saturnian initiation was installed. Not taught, not offered as, hey, will you consider this program, but literally installed. Mm-hmm. It's you are the elite now. In order to have the elite, you're going to get the white coat. And in order to get that, you're going to have to trauma bond, because we don't need you slipping out and finding your own way. We need you inside this trauma bond. This is a system. You are a health system now. You're not a person. You're part of this system itself. And that truly is, in my opinion, Satanism. That is the evacuation of self to a machine that allows you to do evil while you still get to go home at night, kiss your wife and kids, and feel like you were doing good. In fact, everyone around you will praise you for how well you did that. Mm-hmm. And that's how easy it is.
Highest honor, really, in society that way, right? You get the praise because of that, because of the title. It's like they're noticing that you've been put on a different level to them.
What is every girl in high school who dreams of getting married? Who does she want to marry?
Doctors, lawyer, generally those two, or some sort of high athlete.
Right.
It's usually about it.
It's one of the first choices.
They go through their hazing rituals, don't they? They do. And not only that, now I was lucky enough to witness the first year of medical school for MDs, because actually the training is similar for MDs. So the first 2 years, it's all the same material. It's all your ologies, right? Mm-hmm. Histology, biology, chemistry, all those. You're learning all of that stuff, how the body works, anatomy, So there's overlapping programs. And I remember, I think it was McMaster University, if I'm correct. There was this weird ritual that we went to with MDs, first year students. And it was bizarre. It was, we did some CPR stuff, and there was some practical things, and there was some lectures and stuff. We just floated around these different programs. But I remember one, it was a big auditorium. Everyone was in there in the group. And it was basically a chip on your shoulder was given. The Saturnian block was put on your head or on your shoulder at that point, because what they do in this ritual is they tell you how important you are, just how a narcissist would love bomb you. No different. You're better than other people, or you wouldn't be here. You're smarter than other people, or you wouldn't be here. You're basically better. You're the 1% that's better than the rest. The rest of the people will need you and look up to you because they have no skill set like you do. Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely, it's like we have found you, and we're so happy that we've selected you, and you're here because you're better and you're special. And everything you kind of would want a parent to say to you, really, is that you're special and they love you and they need you, and right. And they take that role as a false authority, as like a parental role. And they just eat it up. I could see the dilation in the pupil, through that whole thing. And I'm looking around at how people are responding to that. And I'm alarmed at it. And that they do it with naturopaths. It's just different. It's similar. It's not as overt. It's not as fanfare-y, but it's still, you're better, or you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have been able to pass the tests. You wouldn't have been able, you have the marks to be here. You have the training to be here. And so many of the population doesn't. So that means you're better than them. And it automatically separates you, us and them, right there. That's a huge part of the beginning of how they initiate you into the torture. That's like, we love you, you're amazing, whatever. Now we're going to beat you with a whip for 4 years or 6 years or whatever, how long your residency is, right? We're going to make sure you're exhausted all the time. We're going to make sure you lose all your friends and family because you're too busy to go out and see them, right? We're going to make sure you trauma bond with your other classmates, right? Because that's your new tribe all of a sudden. And you're not going to know who you are at the end of this. You basically hand over your identity through that process.
Yep. You have to. If you were paying attention to everything that you're doing, if you were taking responsibility, that's really it. If you felt responsible for what it was you were about to give someone, you would stop and go, wait, what is this? Vaccine. Which one? Wait, you don't know which one? Well, fuck, I'm not going to give it to him. What are you talking about? And it's like, hang on. And no one has time for that inside the machine. No one has time inside the tank to go, whoa. Before you put that shell in there, where's this going? Who are we killing? We're going to kill that guy over there. Well, which guy? You don't know. What are his political persuasions? What does he have kids? Is he a dick? Is that what we're doing? You don't know. There's no time for that. There's no procedure for that. There's not a procedure in any kind of a platoon where a soldier gets to call, stop, parlay. Are we sure we're killing the bad guys? There's not a system for that. In fact, we cover up friendly fire. I think, and we do that in nursing and in hospitals too. The third leading cause of death is medical error. It's probably higher. Because of the way they classify things. The third leading cause of death.
I think it's the first.
Okay, thank you. Because I've never had enough oomph to say that, but it feels like there's no way this is the third. It has to be more.
If you say the first is cancer, you understand that the majority of the cancers are dying because of the doctors administering the chemo and radiation. Right. So that adds into the iatrogenic medicine third title.
Right.
And then the second is heart disease. And yet again, it's negligence because they don't know how to actually teach anybody anything about health on any level to even prevent having heart disease.
Right.
So again, the onus is on them. So it's top for sure. Number one.
Yeah. That's a lot to swallow. That's too much for most people who've just spent 10 years and are $250,000 in debt at the minimum to stomach. They're not going to stomach that. Just like a veteran is not going to stomach that he put that shell in the gun and he fired it and it hit his own men. He didn't know that was his own man, but he just found out and he didn't know. And he just killed a guy from Cleveland. He just killed a guy that he had lunch with 3 days ago in the commissary. And he will never be the same. And to protect him, everyone around him will not tell that story. They will say that friend was killed by enemy fire. That's what happened. And this man will now have to go through the rest of his life in that silent shame. He's forever gone. He's forever gone. His genes have a chance. Epigenetically, his kid is going to be fucked in the head. He'll be fucked in the head. He'll abandon everyone around him, and then he'll have kids, and then that kid will probably bounce back if there's enough fortitude in the DNA. Because there's a swing. There's always a swing as these epigenetics happen, right? Through our traumas. So if he's going to make it back, it'll be his grandchild. His grandchild will be able to fix the sins of his father or not, or fail miserably, or create a whole new level of addiction on top of it to mask it even further because he's protecting his grandfather. He's trying to help his grandfather. He doesn't even know it. His grandfather's living inside of him going, I fucking killed that guy. And now his grandson is trying to cover it up with heroin, with whatever else, beating his wife, whatever. And that's truly what's happening all around us. But this friendly fire is literally in every single industry. It's in the legal industry. I had to drop a friend the other day because he got mad at me for something. I hated he got mad at me. But the first thing he said is, I'm going to sue you, James. And I was like, I don't want anyone in my life who the first time they have a problem with me, they want to come out and sue me. That's not someone I want in my life. I want someone that says, I have a fucking problem with you. I want you to make good on this. And then I get a chance to listen and I get to say, I understand your problem. It's all of us have these rituals where they're like, come on, just step in this threshold, man. Just step across the threshold Everyone's doing it. Everybody's doing it, man.
Hmm.
Just give the shot. It's just vitamin K. It's just vitamin K. What are you so freaked out? Do you have any idea how many patients we have right now? Give him the vitamin K shot. We have to move. We have to move. We have to move.
It's pressure in a few ways: time pressure and peer pressure, both. Right?
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it. We're all doing it. We're all in the cult.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be in the cult too, and you should do it fast, and you don't have time to think about it. So you really should just go ahead and hurry up, or else you're going to lose this, that, and the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's the unfortunate part of it. And it takes, what would it take? I mean, you'd have to see signs of it early enough to know to not go into it in the first place. But once you're in, you're in. You know, and I mean, it's unfortunate. And it's you're right, it's generational. I've seen that. I study that. I watch when I see carryover from the generation, or that one, the grandmother dies, and then immediately you'll see the changes in the next layers of the family lineage, because now they have a new egg to carry forward, and they wonder why they're going through what they're going through. Now it requires work. It's doable. There's, you can stop the lineage progressing down the row by actually owning it and doing the work of your forefathers and foremothers.
Yeah.
But if you don't know that that's a thing, then you don't know to do that work, right? If you're told that it's just that genetics are only material that's passed down sexually, you don't understand that you have somatid-based memory and mitochondrial memory coming down that is learned. So in the energy of the cells themselves. And then you have another layer where it's energy field level stuff, right? And that's not even mostly discussed. I mean, I've talked about that a handful of times, but it's even hard to have conversations about it, because here we are in like mask wearing land, and we're talking about like fake viruses and stuff right now. So are we even getting to that? That's where we should be talking. I feel that's if we were on a path where we were allowed, to heal, we would be where you were just talking about. And then I would be doing energy work and all this stuff to clear it and work through it and whatever, which I have done some. I have definitely done some. But that's very astute for you to pick up on that, and very few do. It's a very rare conversation, because so few understand the weight of that, and that it's evidenced. It's not just an idea. You can evidence it in the results of that individual down the genetic lineage. I've seen it my whole career.
Yep. Right? Yeah, I think that's the true art of necromancy, is you're able to spot someone's tree. We think that we're 60 years old, that we're 50 years old, that we're 40 years old, that we're 80 years old. We're not. We're 250,000 million years. We are timeless, because we are wrapped into the fractal. The fractal unwrapped you, guys. You were unwrapped in the fractal. The fractal was not unwrapped and laid out, and then they dropped people on top. That's not how this place works. All right? This idea that you were unnatural is what Zionism does. That's what causes you to believe in germ theory, is you believe, oh, I don't belong here in this world. I'm foreign, so it's going to attack me. It's going to get really mad at me. So I got to be really, really careful. And that's what causes that breach. And I couldn't agree with you more about energy work. And I wish that more of us understood how easy it is, how you do it all the time anyway. You're doing it anyway. So it's not even like I have to twist your arm and go, oh, just try it. No, you do it every day. You do it all the time. Two people walk into a store. The first person doesn't have a mask and they're nervous. And when they're nervous, they walk into that store and there's an electrical transaction. The cashier, she smells that, right? She smells that nervousness. She smells that electrical field, and she goes, I need you to wear a mask. And the next person walks into that store, and they're not wearing a mask, but they are confident. They have risen, right? Yeah. They are straight. They are cross-aligned. They are fucking aligned. And when that person comes in, there's no smell. They understand, if I'm going to take this guy down, it's going to take some calories. And they don't. They don't. Do you know why? Because they only have $12 an hour calories. That's all they have because they're inside that procedure. So yes, the uniform empowers these people, but it only empowers them because they had to evacuate themselves before they get into it. It's almost like a power pack. It's almost like when you put on a uniform, you were installing a battery bank that no longer has to pull energy from your own husk. Right now, it's pulling it from the uniform's husk. And that it gets its power, that uniform gets its power through your paycheck. All right? When you get a paycheck from that place, what it's really doing is it's powering up your uniform. And the more money you get these extra badges. I got stripes now, motherfuckers. And you get all this different stuff, and it's powering you up, right? And then you get a comma. You open your paycheck, and there's a fucking comma in there. There's like digit, comma, digit. And you're like, holy fuck, I am so powerful. And now, when someone comes in with a mask, you've been invigorated with that comma. And so now there's a different transaction, isn't there? There's a harder transaction. And so now when Amanda walks in, she has to pull more of that confidence or compassion, depending on her approach to this, and approach because it's going to take more. This is all a electrical transaction. This has nothing to do with words. I know that David Weiss has that awesome card that tells you this card shows that this mask doesn't work. But you need to understand the card works because David gave you a card that makes you feel more confident when you're holding it. It's still your electrical field. It's not the card. It's your electrical field. That card is simply empowering you just like the uniform empowered them. Do you see how it works? You're showing them the card. Yes. You're showing them the card, and that card has a charge because it has a David Weiss charge. Right? It's charged with that information. So you're able to feel that off your... This is Reiki. This is energy work. And we use sigils for energy work, don't we?
Yep. We sure do. And we use... Everything is energy. So, I mean, really, it is. Like, sorry, I'm blurry here. So the idea of energy is that everything that we eat, for example... like food, what's it about? Why? Because it comes right down to the finest vibration, and that particular vibration affects the cellular matter. And if you keep looking at that closer, it's really about the movement. It's really about the energy that it gives you, right? And through ATP, through that process. And you have a field, which we've recorded, which we know exists, and that is the result of all of that. And if we just walk around each other, we're interacting our fields just on that level alone. We're crossing over fields. We're crossing the streams, right? And well, we are. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. But the point is, we have different fields for different things. Heart Math Institute, they were able to measure all these fields. They measured the field of the heart, and it's 6 feet, which I find interesting that we've been told to stay 6 feet apart. So our heart fields don't touch. We have layers of electrical fields around our body, sort of like a cocoon. Barbara Brennan, she was a seer. She was a clairvoyant, and she could see that perfectly what they look like without having to use Kirlian photography or without having to use any other measurement devices like Rife was able to do or whatnot. No, she could see what it looked like. And we're interacting on that level all the time, and picking up things off each other, dumping things on one another, transference. And if you just stay in a loving field, you're giving Reiki to people just by walking around. I mean, I would when I was learning the first layers of my energy healing formally, I would go onto buses and I would sit in an empty bus, and people would come on the bus, and instead of taking a seat somewhere independently, they would literally come sit right next to me.
Yeah.
And most of them would proceed to go into sort of a sleep state. And it was like they were just coming for a healing, right there. I wasn't even doing anything actively. It was just me, what I had done to myself, right?
Yep.
That's super powerful. And so many could just really become fine-tuned to that and tune others just by doing the work themselves. That's it. You don't even need a formal modality. You don't need all the years of
Yeah,
schooling,
it's
all the
not.
training.
It's nothing neocortex. It's nothing. You're never, ever, ever, ever going to get there through here. It's not going to happen. It's not.
That's it.
I had a similar experience in Kansas City. I was sitting on top of a stone lion in front of a bank in the middle of the day, and I was watching and wondering why everyone was so busy. I was like looking at them going, why are these people so busy? Like their entire life is just nothing but busy. And I was looking at their energy about how it was a profound experience because when I got off the lion, I was walking home. A car on a 5-lane highway in the second lane was driving by, and Amanda, he pulled over. He, like, very quickly, he saw me and pulled over to the right. I was not wearing a mini dress. I was not dressed in any sort of provocative way. I was wearing normal clothing in the middle of the day. There were plenty of people around. There was no reason why I stuck out. If anything, I blended in. And he fucking stopped, and he pulled over, and he pulled right up to the side of the road, and he stopped, and he looked at me, and he looked me right in the eyes like it was my fault. And I swear to you, he said, I don't know why I stopped. And I don't tell that story because I feel like people don't believe that. They're like, well, you're just not telling me all the information. But Amanda, that fucking happened. And he didn't know, and he was nervous because he was just like he needed me to tell him why he stopped. He needed that from me. And I told him to see the shadows. And he was so happy. He was so happy because I gave him some electricity. And it wasn't, I opened the secret gates of Ragnarok and the seventh seal was broken and the great nipple came down and bequeathed the phrase that, see the shadows. It wasn't that. I just spoke. I wasn't giving him words. I was giving him electricity. And I went home profoundly blown away because it felt like I was somehow a magnet during that I was somehow, boom, I turned on this magnet and it fucking made a car pull over and stop and ask me, why did I pull over? Because that's basically what he was asking me. He didn't even know why. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know what was happening. And I'm convinced that this is an electrical thing. All of this, and I'm using electrical in a very broad way. It's more like a 3-dimensional electricity if you think about it, or like a 5-dimensional if you want to get all whatever. It's a dimensional electricity. It's not a one-way field. It's a multi.
Definitely. Yeah, and you can explain that with understanding how you can send energy at a distance, for example. Like I do a lot of distance Reiki. And I also have a Rife machine where all I need is someone's fingernails, so their DNA sample, and the energy will send their to whatever that signature is, wherever they are. So if you send it to the DNA sample, it'll send it to them as well immediately in the moment. It's not even it's traveling from A to B
Right.
where you are. No. It's that second. It's that parsecond, or immediate. And that shows you something very, very true about this realm, is that there's no space and no time, really. It's instantaneous, and we're connected in a way that is non-local. It's non-locality. And we've only studied non-locality a little bit, really.
Yeah.
And in erroneous context, without ether involved, with the fraud Einstein's mess all gooped up in there, right? So we have to. There's so much work to do.
Yeah.
Really, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's exciting.
As I think that part of that work is we are electrically comfortable not feeling like we have too much power. If we felt that everything was truly entangled, because I think that's really what you're talking about. Everything is entangled with itself. Mm-hmm. And these vibrations are something like a Dewey Decimal System where we can log in and go to a place by finding what's entangled with it, by having that connection, that router. It's we think that our brain stores all of our emotions and thoughts, but no, it's routing it. It's just simply connecting. Yeah, this pain is in your hip. And when you think about it, what you're doing is you're pulling it up. You're pulling up that information, and now it's in your neocortex. But before it's in your neocortex, it's always there. It's always has that vibration, and it's looking for resonance outside of itself. Why? Because if it finds resonance outside of itself, maybe you will fucking pay attention. Maybe you will see it, right? So you project your hip pain. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but you project your hip pain. You're like, fuck, my hip hurts. Hey, you're a fucking asshole. And you, it's right there. All the data's right there, but you haven't made that connection yet because you don't think that you have the ability to broadcast information that you need outside of yourself for the sole purpose of you fucking finding it. In fact, the illusion itself is the word outside, isn't it? That you're broadcasting that outside yourself. That truly is the biggest illusion here. And I think that's why we don't fully understand what projection truly is. Projection is a calling up. It is a bringing to the table of something that needs to come out, isn't it? But we are being nice. We are being nice to everyone. So we don't allow that kind of field. We reject those kinds of fields because that's dangerous. That's reptilian even.
And that goes back to you talking about the witness, right? Because if you're able to, if you were aware and grounded and you knew this, then you would actually hold space for someone to go through that actual expression so that they could see it for themselves and then do the transformation work that was required for themselves. But they can't, sorry. Pardon me. So, so that's the issue, right? Is that we are not allowed because the culture denounces you. When you try to do that, they shut you down. They, in some way, right? I mean, true tribes would just would come around that person and just be the witness without judgment and let them see themselves. Right? Because we are trapped in ourselves. We are trapped inside of this illusion body, right? Meaning like you can literally not see yourself. I was always tortured by that. I was like, I will never be able to actually see myself in real time other than some sort of video. Video is not really me. A photo's not really me. You know, a mirror's not really me. It's it's backwards. Or it's digitalized. It's taken part of me and put it in, but it's not me seeing me. I can't. It's impossible.
It's brilliant.
You know?
Yeah, it really gives you an idea of who you are. Because if you can't see yourself, if you truly can't see yourself, it would only be because you're a fish that's always in water, right?
Yeah.
Which means that you are a soul that's always in yourself, right? You are swimming in yourself. Right now, all of us are swimming inside of you, the person that's watching me. We are you swimming inside yourself. And I know that's fucking weird. How do you think I feel? I mean, I just told you that I'm swimming inside you, and the whole time I'm feeling the same way. And it's interesting because all of us have that exact same torus. All of us have that exact same assemblage point, don't we? It's a point in space where everyone else can see us but us. That's profound. I try and imagine what it's like to climb into a torus that is completely a mirror, a 1,000% from every angle around me. If you could be a point and be looking in a mirror that's like a sphere, it could be a sphere, it could be a torus, it wouldn't matter. Because if you can imagine what true 100% reflection, what nothing but reflection would look like, none of us know. None of us have the ability. We can't even take a camera and put it inside a ball that has all. We can't, because we will see a reflection of a camera, right? We will never see a reflection of reflection. And that is so freaking cool because it's telling you what this reality is really all about. The one thing that you're sure of, the I am, is the one thing you cannot perceive directly.
Impossible. Absolutely impossible. And that's why we are not a solitary unit, and we're interwoven into the fabric of everything and our ancestors and our people and all the things and our animal friends and all of that, because the reflections at least give you, even though abstract, give you some semblance point where you can begin. So if I get a semblance point from the way a cat looks at me, say, right? Okay, I'll put that on the map, right? My mother, gave me quite a handful of semblance points. Okay, got
Mm-hmm.
that on the map. James True, he gave me a couple. He's a bit weird, but whatever. He gave me a few.
You feel that? Do you feel it right
Yeah,
now?
that's the big semblance point.
Do
you're
you
giving
feel
me
it
right
right
now.
now?
Yeah, I'm getting that right now. Actually, that's going right up here. My star right there. We'll talk more about other semblance points. But anyway, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So all you're getting, and that's why I use the word tapestry, because I like that word, because it's fine needlepoint we're talking about here, right? That takes this effort. It's not just, oh, got it, one photograph. No. You're putting it in the pinpoint precision, all of these semblance points where you're trying to get a picture of yourself. And the closer you can get to that, the closer you can be sort of close to, yeah, I think I know who I am a bit. You know what I mean? Maybe I know like 80% ish, but it's never going to be 100% in that regard, right? But that's the more you do that work and you get all that in your tapestry, the easier life becomes, because you are able to face the facets of yourself that you would rather not be witnessed into, the bad stuff, the things you ignore about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
selves, your wounds, your behaviors, your habits, whatever it is that you don't want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you can accept that that's why you talk about vitriol a lot. That's why that's very valuable. That's why the guy wants to sue you. He doesn't understand you're doing him a great favor,
I agree. Yes.
right? Because
Yes.
if he would say, oh, I feel this rage coming out against James. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's super powerful. What has happened to my
Mm-hmm.
body because of this reflection point?
Yeah.
What do I got to learn now? What do I got to look at? I got to start doing my art doodles, because I'm not, I got to, right? If he did that, now that's the gift, right? All of those challenges that we go through, if we can just flip that in our heads instead of blaming and shaming and you did this to me and blah 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 blah, and go, what were they trying to show in me, or what was that reflection about, and just turn it in on yourself, not in a
Mm-hmm.
destructive, pick yourself apart way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about what is they call developing the second attention, which is you're become your own witness. The second attention is like the Cheshire cat head of you next to you, looking back on you, going, oh, that's fascinating. That's like, it's non-judgmental. There's no emotional charge there. It's just a pure, I'm watching, and I'm trying to assess that a little bit. And that's it. And that's what I've been doing for the most part of my life, greater part of my life. And in the proof's in the pudding, always, right? And now, if James comes to me and says, your poo poo stinks, which it doesn't, by the way. But if he did say that, and I got upset at that because it so smells like roses, I would say, instead of going, James, you're a blah blah, I would say, well, I feel like I thought I knew that it smelled like roses, but maybe, just maybe, I got to return and look at that again, and just thanks for bringing that to my attention, because I really was sure of it. There were roses growing out of it and everything. I really was sure.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be humble enough to go, I'm going to go just sniff my poo for a second.
You're
You know
blowing.
I know you like I do a lot of poo analogies. Just
Well, and every time you do, I'm going to take us off there as soon as I can, and because that's how I roll. But you're blowing me away, because what you're telling me is, what you've shown me, I've never thought of this before, is that when I met you, what I was truly doing was meeting an aspect of myself, a corner of myself, the undercarriage of James that I've never seen before.
The taint. Really.
Yeah, was able to come up and say, hi, here I am. And so the electricity that I had with you is truly completing a circuit in myself that I wasn't aware of before. And that's why, if someone wants to sue me and I freak out, because I really fucking hate people that try and sue people, that's reminding me of an electrical circuit I have in me about people that like to sue. really just don't like those kind of people. And that's something that I get to remember and feel too. That's an aspect. He's showing me an aspect of myself the same way I'm showing an aspect of him. Which means, Amanda, the big takeaway here is that the people that you find that annoy the fuck out of you, that annoy the shit out of you in life, are this gigantic blessing. They are opportunities for witness of yourself in ways that you've never, ever considered giving any kind of compassion to at all. Zero, none. In fact, you oppose it. You are radically opposed to that. That's why you say, they are not me. That person is not me. They are the antithesis of me. In fact, they're so not me. What can I point out that makes me feel even more different? Well, they're stupid, or they're black. I'm white. That's different. Now I'm even further not them. They have a penis. They have, well, whatever it is, you're going to build this framework for you to establish that distance, that self-soothing. Because what you're truly self-soothing is that everything around me is not me. This person is not me. This person is not me. And the whole time you're lying to yourself. The whole time you're lying to yourself through ages, right? Through epochs, through all that. But before I pass this back to you, Joseph Paul has made a pretty awesome super chat to ask, are you a fire sign? And I think that that's worthy of an answer. It's a good question.
Yeah, he's on to something. Sun sign fire. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a Leo. Leos really are bold and can be good teachers and do have a compassionate heart, generally want to be generous givers and helpers and go into lots of professions like that. Can be sometimes bigger than life and can have certain skill sets in like acting realm. Actually, I have one course shy of a minor in my undergrad degree. Like I could have had an undergrad degree in acting because I loved it. I loved it in that same ideology as what we were just talking about, where we're looking at facets of ourselves. I wanted to play pretend roles for a while to see what other parts of myself could come out, right? And when you play pretend, like children do, you get to learn certain things about yourself. And you also get new skill sets when you do that. And I really like that. I had an acting professor who loved me. He thought I should be like the top acting star ever. Like he was A plus in me all the way through. Because I was a good stage actress, because I could really do the faces, I could do the expressions that people needed to see because they're afraid to do such bold expressions. They're afraid to look a certain way. I'm not afraid. If I have to look ugly, if I have to have a double chin, I don't care. I'll do it. I'll do it for so other people can feel comfortable in themselves. I was a soothsayer. Had a big wart on my nose, whatever. I would do all of that. And that was really fun for me. And it's a really fire sign trait, not to say that not to generalize, because there's so much more to that topic. And I actually really love astrology, and I love studying the big time clock in the sky. And I think it's fascinating. I've done your astrology, James, as well. So I know all these secrets about you. But I also have a moon in Pisces, and the moon in Pisces is the dreamer, the clairvoyant, the seer, a lot of the refined energy work, healer stuff, the weird warped sense of humor.
You got that.
And some other aspects.
You definitely have that.
Yeah.
I man, there's so much here. There's so much here. The astrology is like a whole other framework of tools that really apply to this electrical field stuff, because it by having aspects of yourself, I think what's happening is limbically you're able to pull something out, and because you have the astrology to point to, your neocortex is going to allow your limbic system to pull that out as information. Your neocortex does not want your limbic system to get any credit for anything wise at all. It doesn't want that. And it's not that it doesn't like you, it's that it's nervous. The limbic system scares it. It is the chaos abyss. It is the great giant Akashic ocean. Think about the ocean as the Akashic record, guys. All the salt in the water of the oceans is all the information that's ever been known. And you are Sheol. There is a part of you that touches that ocean. And by touching that ocean, you understand that. And for you to truly understand that you know everything is a very painful experience. It requires an aperture that's so big, it would be like giving birth to an elephant. It's just it's too much. It's too much. So we get to use things like astrology. We get to use things like Reiki. We get to use things like all the instruments that we have, whether it be sound healing, whether it be didgeridoo, whether it be even talk therapy, which I think is kind of the most limited one because it relies on neocortex. All of these are really probably just tapping in and giving your limbic system permission to come outside in a very small, limited way and express some wisdom through a chart, right? Through a very limited framework of a chart, through a very limited hole of aperture that's not going to freak everybody out, right? That's not going to get all Nostradamus on us where everyone's just like, okay, for the next 4,000 years, I can't fucking go outside, you know? It's that kind of thing. It's too much for us. It's too painful to understand that every single person in the world is us because we don't have the adrenals to function to fathom that. This is so much easier this way.
Yeah, it is. And obviously we had a hand in some level of how this was going to go down, right? So we have to own that and honor that. And that's how I take full responsibility every day for everything that I bring into my reality. And I think that's the mark of a mature soul is when you do that. And I would even do it to the point of fault. Many years ago when I was, doing a lot of this practice, is I would take literally everything as I did that. Not from an ego, like false ego space, but as I'll take full responsibility for everything around me first. If somebody got angry at me, automatically, I'll absolutely, no matter what. And it was interesting how when I did that, how the scene would change around me rather than getting defensive, rather than trying to lock that energy ball to someone else. I took the whole energy ball and I said, okay, let me own that. And then maybe we'll dole it out later. We'll dole it out that this goes there and that, okay, let's sort that out. But there's an error somewhere in my energy for this glitch and I'm going to own it. And it doesn't matter how the scene might play out, right? It's mine first. And to the point where friends or loved ones would say, no, I did that. I'm sorry. But it would allow for that. It would allow for them to say, oh, actually, you took that whole energy ball, but actually that whole energy ball isn't you,
right.
All you. So give me back some of that, and it completely diffuses the situation, right? And then you don't necessarily need the vitriol effect if you're willing to go there and do that first, right? You need the vitriol effect if you won't take any of it, really. And it's over there and not my problem. And that's it, right? Zero responsibility. Then it's going to get a little bit nasty in your face, right? Because like, oh, no, you don't. You are loved too much to not learn from this and not to take any responsibility for what's just happened. And to realize that you're a major player in the story of your life. And if you miss it now, I'm just trying to save you pain later because it's going to just happen again. And it's probably going to be yuckier. It's probably going to be more outrageous because you didn't do it now. And so it's a great love to actually have that vitriol to somebody in the hopes that they will own it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But I was very young in taking that self-responsibility. And I think it was just the way that I grew up. I naturally kind of did that a little bit anyway. It must be my fault because everything seemed to be my fault. So, oh, that car crash over there. I'm so sorry. Sorry, that's me. And they're like, no, like it totally wasn't you, dude. I'm like, but I looked at it, so I was involved. Yeah, I saw it. Right.
What if we are here because after this place, we are going to a place where whatever you do think does happen. and it would be very irresponsible. I know what I think, and it would be very irresponsible to put my ass out on the freeway where everything I think is instantly happening. We would have, first of all, no woman would ever be allowed to walk because she would be covered in boobs. Like she would have like 1,000 boobs, like from all down her body, right? And so we would get nothing done. Everybody would be like really super cool, so there'd be no lame people anywhere. It would be a terrible world, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, it would be downright awful. And if we are allowed to just leave the garage in this fucking Ferrari that's capable of rendering anything in real time in an instant, that it would be not only a disaster, it would be a tragedy, right? Like truly, it would be a tragedy to watch someone learning on a Testarossa, like a 1 of 100 line of Testarossa, watching him learn how to drive a stick shift, right? Like imagine that, like picture that, like oh God, just the whole thing is just fucked, and you're watching it. And you really just want to kill that person to save him. Like it's just so painful what they're going through that so you need to put them in this dojo, right? You need to put them in this dome. This dome where the moment you think something, it doesn't just happen unless you're electrically like fucking zoned in, right? Like unless
Careful, we have an 18-month-old watching, so we should have a language filter.
Now you tell me. Well, I can't really promise you guys I'm going to be good at that. I'm really sorry. I really really hate
Hey,
you.
you know what? My 8-year-old, she knows more swear words, I think, than I do, to be honest. I think it's just we're over it a little bit. She's like, she doesn't even swear. She's like, yeah, I know them all.
Okay, well it's good to know. Now I will do my best there to make sure that I am content
Just
friendly.
FYI, I just saw that. It's like, oh, my 18-year-old keeps saying hi to you, James and Amanda.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. That electrical field though is y- there's a point I think you could reach. There is what you may call it Christ consciousness, you may call it Krishna consciousness, you may call it whatever you want. But there seems to be a alignment in your spine, an alignment that comes through no false guilt, all pure, raw, clean emotions are flowing through your system. You're not grappled by epigenetic guilt. You're not grappled by your own misdirected trauma. You're not grappled by kinks of trauma that you've learned to hold in your body all times. You are clean, right? You are clean in harmony. Each of your chakras is in line, which means it's in tune. And when they're in tune, you are now broadcasting in such a way where things just happen. And I've seen this. I'm not at all claiming that I have Christ consciousness. Of course fucking not. But I'm telling you that there's been situations that I've been in life where I've been in such a flow state. That's what I call it. Such a flow state where things happen. And they happen well. Not even the way I'm planning them. They happen well. Like well beyond any of my ability to imagine what would be well. I find myself in the pocket and I find that I'm able to stay there. That is something that I can sustain. And I believe that it is able to sustain it because I've found this right alignment. I've found we are an instrument. And I have tuned each of my vertebrae, all 33, or think about it, your vertebrae, not only do they need the space in between to be just right, but each of them have to be tweaked and turned and twisted in just the right way to make that instrument play the sound, right? We are an instrument. And I can't help but think that we are learning to feel that alignment. We are learning to do that. That's why so much of our trauma is stored in our bodies, because it's part of the electrical way of showcasing you that. In fact, it's so important that we were brought here for the sole purpose of not being able to see energy. Think about this for a sec. We are brought here to not be able to see energy, because if we could see energy, we would need no subtle skills at all. You could look at me, I could look at you, and I could say, Amanda, you have a blobulous orange off color that doesn't, I don't know if that's right. And you would go, oh, thank you, James. And you could look and you could see, and you could simply just move your body until it's gone. And just like sometimes in yoga, if you do like a hip stretch and all of a sudden you start crying and you're like, why am I crying? I'm in a good mood. Why am I crying right now? You release automatically. I think that's the technique that we have that we could do, but that would be cheating us because we wouldn't be able to develop the subtle sensation. The subtle sensation is crucial. I don't know if it's we require it for graduation. I don't know, but it's crucial that we develop that while we're here. And that's what compassion is, right? That's what subtle energy is. That's what perception is. That's what being able to have enough plasma that you can pull it outside your body and put it inside of Amanda and go, is Amanda okay? She just yawned. Am I boring Amanda? Am I enticing her? Or has she had a long day? I'm using my plasma to send to you to try and simulate that. That's compassion. That's part of these electrical connections. And I would only be able to do that if I could send that, if I could broadcast that to you and pick up what's there and receive it back.
Yeah. And also, I do think that we've designed this, or how it's being designed, is you don't get to become a prime manifester until you've gone through all of these layers and you've dealt with all of those energies and you've appreciated all of the layers of the suffering that had to come in order for you to become self-responsible enough that you aren't going to make a parade of 6-boobed women running down the street, right? And you can taste it sometimes. Like, you can have times where you're very clear, like you're saying, where you can actually have moments where you do feel what that is. And language has actually been a hindrance in a lot of ways, especially English, to even our understanding and explanation of what that is and how that, what that's, it's beyond just sensation. I don't even know if we have the proper verbiage for it, but how that comes through you to manifest something. And I was blessed enough to have an opportunity where I had teachers come to my door, knock on the door and live with me and work with me. I had one teacher for a year that stayed with me, almost a year to the day. And at one point, when we were nearing like the last couple of months together, we were literally doing manifestation work. That's what we were getting up every day and doing. Mm-hmm. We decided how we wanted to experiment with that, or master, or practice, was we needed certain furniture items in our loft. Okay, so say we go, wouldn't it be nice if we had a plant stand? Okay, that plant stand was white, and do we want it round or square? We would decide. We would describe it as perfectly as we could, the height, everything that we wanted in that. And every time and we go down to the garbage in this apartment complex this condo place that we lived, and it would be in the garbage within 1 to 2 days. It would be sitting there just waiting for us to pick up. And we did this multiple times. And what was interesting is it would always be better than what we wanted, because we didn't even know really what we wanted. We kind of thought that would work, or we liked that. And then when we get it, we go, oh, that's weird. It's square. And we thought didn't we say we wanted it round? I guess so. But then when we got it in the space, we're like, oh, it works perfect square. Round actually wouldn't have worked. Oh my Lord. That's incredible. And we would be like, oh. I mean, what would happen in our energy from that would just be, we'd be blissed out literally all day from that. Okay. And it taught me so much in that practice of manifestation, just with simple items. And I think people could practice with that, something just, it's not going to hurt anybody. You're not going to, with like asking for a piece of furniture for your house, right? And we're practicing. And all of this is getting us into self-responsibility and self-ownership, because you cannot become a prime manifester if you are so immature and you are so unreasonable in your requests, and they're selfish, and they're all of those childish or adolescent behaviors, obviously, right? and it's miraculous to witness it. And I think we are getting to this next layer. That's what I feel is happening now, is a pressure cooker scenario, which says to the baby manifestors, do you wanna, are you interested? We're now all call for those who want to ascend to the next layer of manifesting, and setting up these new tribes and
Yeah.
land masses and ways of living and be the teachers and so forth. Do you hear the call, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel is happening. I feel the call. And those who are still under the communist boot, right? They're not, they still need the suffering part. They still need the
Yes.
etching. They still need the trouble in
The
their lives.
slavery. The
The
slavery. Slavery feels good if you don't want to be responsible for yourself. Slavery feels really good. If there are people that go to prison because they like it. They like the structure.
Yeah, I remember a friend of mine, well, I should say acquaintance. I didn't know her very well, but in the community. And all of a sudden, I find out that she's done a 180 in her life and she's divorced her husband, and even though they have a kid and whatever, she's changed everything, and she is with this new husband, which I had lost touch, and it was so much radical change. And the individual informing me on this was saying he's extremely, extremely controlling. And I said, "Oh dear, that's that might be difficult." And she said, "Oh no, she loves that. She wants him to tell her everything to do from morning to night, what to wear, how to behave, how to raise the children, everything,
Yeah.
what to cook him." She wanted that. She liked that. That was her savory place. And I was like, well, hey, whatever you're into, right? And that's what she needed for what. Who am I to judge? I don't know, right? And that could be the way she ascends. That could be the way that she learns.
Yes, it could, because her it could be that in order to get past the finish line, I need to take a lesson in servitude. That could be exactly the missing piece that they need. I love, this is one of the favorite things I love about you, Amanda, is because you don't think, you understand how irresponsible it is for you to go in and assume this is what this person needs to heal. You don't do that. You're very, very quick to go, wait, stop. How do we know this is bad? And it's profound. It's one of the reasons why I'm really glad that we're talking, because when I saw you do that, I was like, I want that person in my life, because you see that it's crucial, guys. When we were in New York, do you remember that night on the porch? This sounds like, remember that night on the porch where I was having it out with someone else, and there was a bona fide exchange of rough energy, right? Of salty, rough energy. And you were the one there making space for it. You were a space keeper. You were like, stop. Why do you need to stop this? These are two men arguing. I trust them. You didn't say these words, but you were telling everyone else, I trust this. I trust that these men are in each other's faces right now and they're giving each other energy, and I trust both of them explicitly. I do not need to interfere. In fact, I need to encircle this baby. I need to give it awareness and witness. And it's exactly what this world needs. It's the only way we can return ourselves to authenticity, is to go back to that place where nice is considered a form of lying, a form of, I'm talking about a special kind of nice. I'm not saying people should be mean to everybody. I'm talking about that thing you do where you cover up everything that you feel and you simply just try and go along and be acceptable or amenable. That's a field state of deception. It is deception. And the longer you wear that deception, The more you hate deception, which means the more you try and turn into that deception. It happens, it changes you. The same thing happens with your field when you wear an electrical field. If you wear a uniform too long, you will become the scrubs. You will become the white coat. You will become the uniform. You will become the cop. You will become the badge. You will become the judge. All of it. What
And you
we've,
didn't find yourself.
what
And you
we've,
define yourself.
yes,
All of them.
we fight authenticity. That's what we're fighting right now. Most of us are fighting authenticity like it's the enemy. The rest of us are trying to bring it home. We're like, I have to, we got to bring this guy home. And authenticity is, he's a clown. He's very bright and vibrant. Everyone can see him. We can't sneak him in. We can't smuggle him in. We have to create an out and out front and just run him across the finish line and get him back. And most of the world doesn't want that. The reason why they don't want that is because they don't want your witness. Because if you give them their witness, they have to look at themselves. They don't get to do bad things anymore. They don't get to eat meat. They don't get to take advantage of people. They don't get to have sex with someone just because they know they could do it. They don't get to drink their problems away. They don't get to be a dick because they have an extra comma. When we give them witness, all that stops. It all explodes. Because none of that feels good anymore. I know this for a fact. I live alone, which means if I want to have a shitty night and I want to do something bad, whether it be an eating thing or whatever it is, I can do that because there's not a witness around here. My dog is awesome, but he doesn't judge me. And that's why I'm more comfortable around him, because I'm allowed to be a slouch. I'm allowed to be an addict. When there's no witness around me, I can be an addict. An addict. That's not an addict, but an addict. And that's so crucial for us to understand. That's why we like this alone thing. That's why we're here on Dojo Earth with Amnesia, because it gives us privacy so we can experience just how slothful we are, just how addicted we are, just how amazing we are, just how persistent we are. All of it. All of it. It's all under this illusion, this veil of privacy that we give ourselves and then we take it away. We give ourselves and then we take it away. It's beautiful what we have.
The only way, one thing I learned is I got sucked into New Age ideology, and that was fine because I needed to do that. I needed to walk that path. I needed to feel righteous in the shadow. I needed to have all that. I needed to ignore the dark. I needed to just focus on positive and light and pretend that the dark didn't exist for a while, which was obviously false, but I needed to understand that. And so I honor the fact that I went through some New Age ideologies and came through the other side. And that what that taught me was that you can't remove something or change something inside of yourself if you don't actually take hold of it. Meaning, how are you supposed to, if there's a piece of garbage on the ground, until we can we're really good with our telepathy and our other skill sets, I gotta still, anyway, energetically, whether it's my hand or something else, I gotta pick that up to put it in the trash. And it's the same thing inside of ourselves. You can't just will it away. It takes an effort, an energy, a calorie or two, you know what I mean, to transform that. And it's not, doesn't just miraculously go away. You can't just turn away from it and hope the garbage disappears or somebody else takes it away for you. Eventually you have to face that pile of garbage if you haven't tidied for a while and deal with it. And when you do that work, the rewards are so beautiful. You do, go through layers of pain and suffering, but that's not forever. And I think a lot of people need to that witness part, like as a healer, that's one of the roles that I play, is just simply as witness, to hear them tell their story of what they've gone through. I have so many stories inside of my body that I have taken an oath to never tell another living soul, because first of all, it's completely private, but secondly, as bearing witness, it's affected my hologram, right? And I carry all these stories within me, and the relief. Now, this isn't a transference thing, okay? I know the difference. This is somebody heard me thing. That's different. And that's in and of itself, that is a healing for them. How many times when they go into the cult, the medical cult with the white coats, right? Do they ever get to tell story of how they got into that state of illness. Never.
Right.
That's actually one of the hallmarks of that whole culture, is that you don't get any time. It's it's rushed all the way through, from initiation all the way to how you treat your parents, your patients rather. You haze them, just as you were hazed. The abused becomes the abuser. So they just abuse their patients, and they never let them tell them what's wrong, which is absurd. Absurd. Why I'm good at what I do is because I hear what they say, and I even hear what they don't say. You know, and just the relief of actually somebody understanding and listening is like a chunk of their healing right there. And it amazes me that we've gotten to this place where we're not doing that enough, like barely, and certainly not in a lot of healthcare situations. Even the holistic healthcare model, which I did not like as an ND, how they were training us to do the time. Yes, there was definitely time to listen, but it seemed to drag. It was like the idea was, don't give them too much at first. Drag it out. Make sure they come back and give you the money many times, you know, before you get to it. Sometimes I just need to see people once, most of the time. That's it. Because I'm just saying, there's that. Oh, wait, okay. Heard you, witnessed that, got that. Here's the pieces of your tapestry that I'm going to put together for you. And you've got the power. You have control over your own life. Here's the handbook. Just read that, work on that. And you can do follow-up maybe in like 5 or 6 months. And about 90% of those people email me back saying, wow, I can't believe how quick of a fix that was. Or I can't believe, the rash is gone. Or I'm sleeping finally, or my hormones are balanced, or whatever. But I think the real healing is that they have been given permission to do it for themselves, and they needed to be told, like the slavery thing. But now you're telling them to do it yourself. So they needed that last final, I'm telling you, but it's tell them to do it themselves.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. I'm absolutely convinced that that's exactly how it works. It's they're unlocking the placebo inside of you under strict rules and conditions with a commission attached on top, and inside of that certain pocket, then only certain things are allowed to happen. This comes back to electrical fields. In fact, the world is full of dissonance. It's full of trauma. It's full of bad shit that happens, and we are so resourceful that we have learned how to utilize guilt, shame, survivor abuse, survivor syndrome, I should say, as a alchemical shield that allows us to heal, allows us to form ourselves. The introvert is someone who has secured their energetic shell a long time ago, and they've learned how to successfully navigate in the world with this shell on. It's impenetrable. They're an introvert. That's why. They love it inside the shell because it's safe. If you're an introvert, don't freak out. I am not about to tell you you're wrong. No, this is not what it's about. I'm telling you, you've done well. You've found a constructive system to navigate through the pain that you had to deal with the dissonance. There's nothing wrong with that. There are extroverts. There are extroverts that have said, if I keep the door open at all times, if I have no car doors at all, there will never, ever, ever, ever be an instance where a bear climbs into the car with me. They will simply go out the other day. It's a different kind of don't worry, extroverts. I'm not telling you what you did is wrong. I'm trying to say that we utilize pride, shame, all of it, good and bad. We utilize these things to harden our field, to create a petrification to our field that allows us to navigate the world. I believe, Amanda, that is actually why we have something called being gay. I think that when you have a world like this where you are allowed to be gay or not be gay, there is a stigma that comes in the world. And that stigma, the reason why we have that stigma is not because people are born with this innate sense of not liking something gay. That stigma is there because we need that stigma in order to allow us to have the ability to build these electrical fields around ourselves. So to carry what I'm saying is, let's Imagine that you are gay. I'm sorry, imagine before you say that you are gay, that you are nervous, that you do not like how the perturbations of the world are so loud, the dissonance is so loud that you would like a shell. But you do not feel that you deserve a shell. You do not have the strength to build up a shell yet. You need training wheels to form this egoic shell. You need these. You don't even have an ego because you're told to hate your ego. So you utilize crutches as anyone would. You're looking out in your environment for systems, for pieces that you can attach as a paper mache around you. And you've constructed this paper mache bubble that says you're gay. And now you're safe. Because now you have entered into the initiation of masochism to sadism. This is what you're talking about with the doctor. You now have a system where you are reinforced. The moment someone makes fun of people that are gay in front of you, your shield now hardens a little bit. You feel a bump from that. You're like, oh, I'm persecuted. I'm smiling when I say that because I want you to understand that there's a certain part of your energy that is very happy about that. It's like, this persecution, I can use this shit. I can use this. I can use it to no longer trust anyone in the world, or I can use it to build a giant empire where everyone drinks Kool-Aid and we shoot each other in the head. You can use this for anything. And it's so important that we understand. Well, you don't have to understand it, but if you're looking at what Amanda's talking about, we're looking at electrical fields that are neither good nor bad. They're necessary. They're construction blocks that we need as we learn to build ourselves up. We need these persecutions. Guys, we need shame to be attached to masks. You're not going to have a life where we're going to pretend like we're not going to shame anyone that wears a mask. Stop. You're ruining the electrical field. You're trying to go out there and say, no, everything should be permeable. And you're telling everyone that's an introvert, you're wrong. And you can't tell them they're wrong because all you're doing is making their field stronger. What we're looking at is a subtle it's a prana economy. I don't use that word lightly. It's a fucking prana economy. Because each of us have that economy. Each of us have our transactions. Amanda and I have a certain transaction with each other. It's a certain kind. We can do certain things. We can say, I could touch my nipple and we can play with that. It's a certain energy that we have. We can talk deeply about our own love lives privately, like our own separate things. It's a different kind of a prana economy that has its own transactions that we establish and change from day to day. She could say something that offends me, and next thing you know, boom, I no longer have that prana economy from her, vice versa. We're living in a world where we're trying to fix all that. When instead what we should be doing is living in a world where we should learn how to customize and tailor that. Don't fix it. Show people how to customize it, right? Show people how, no, this radio has a setting screen. Click this button. You can change all this shit. You can change the treble, the balance, the fader. You can change it all. You can change the music you're playing, but you have to learn how to do this, which means you have to be okay with shame. You have to be okay with all these weird feelings that come up too. You have to be okay with this idea that shame is a necessary tool in navigating this world. It's
James, you said something important there, which was show it, which it's really a modeling. We're modeling for others, and that's what one of the top things we learn about children. I mean, I obviously being in healthcare and having a child, I read every book I could get my hands on that made some sense. And one thing I learned fundamentally is that children are learning sponges, obviously, but one of their top primary methods of learning is by witnessing what you're doing. They learn by watching you. How do you actually behave? They're watching that. Whether they even you think they're actively watching you or not, they're watching you. And that was a really big piece for me in how I look at individuals who are still soul young. So their soul is like a child, right? And that's how I see the ones that are needing the shame and the mask wearing population, because they're needing to feel all those feelings still and label them for themselves like a child. And the same idea, when a child has all these big feelings, they can't unpack it and they don't know what's what and where does it go. Those are tantrums. And when you can witness their tantrum without trying to change them, okay, You don't do anything. You just make sure they don't hurt themselves, basically. And know that tell them or show them that you're here for them when they're
Mm-hmm.
ready. That's it. You bear witness. When they're done and they want the hugs and they want the peace, then you can help them unravel what was that big feeling that you had.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about what that was about when they were ready to be in that brain state. And they then learn to label and identify the emotion for themselves. Oh, I was feeling shame. Oh, I was feeling anger. Oh, I was feeling that. And then I usually go a step deeper. Well, what is a feeling? What is a feeling? Well, is it an emotion? Because there's a difference. And is it an energy?
Mm-hmm.
And and so if you simplify it, I usually simplify it down to an energy, and there's a core need attached to the energy. So if you find what the core need is, then you can satisfy what the energy is actually trying to tell you, but through this frenetic chaos thing. And so when I see those the people wearing masks who are actually shaming people like myself who refuse to wear a mask, I absolutely would never put a mask on my face or my child. I train my child to say certain things. Sorry, I have a medical condition, is what she says. And if they ask her any, oh, you look healthy, what would that be? Say, respectfully, that's private. That's what she says. And I say the same thing. And it's because, but understand that now they're going to project shame onto you because that's the feeling that they're. And so by not wearing the mask, we are divine witness to those who
Mm-hmm.
are, because so it's a great role to have. And I
Yeah.
encourage as many to do it as possible, because it will help many see their own reflection back of the shame mirror, right? And
Absolutely.
once they can have enough of that, they'll get to a place where it takes them down into what that energy is and what that core need really is. And when you get to that, then you can, it's more than half the
Mm-hmm.
battle of identifying why you're feeling a certain way. And then you can say, well, I'm missing this in my life and that's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Or I realize I need to change the way I live, or whatever, a million other things, right? And so it's a service that I feel we're doing at this point to assist those. And that's why the ritual is perfect. That's why the pandemic is perfect,
Yeah.
right? Because look at them all. Look how many
Mm-hmm.
are doing it, are doing the ritual, right? Because they're in that slavery shame energy still, and they have to, it has to come bubbling up. It has to fester. The wound, sometimes if a wound is not attended to, what will happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can fester. It become bigger. And then you get more attention on it eventually. Oh, this is actually a problem that I need to pay attention to. So it's festering shame right out in that. Now, I'm sensitive. I'm extremely sensitive. I pick up all kinds of things, and into my, it's like my filaments are finer, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the way that I'm wired. And I've been manifesting my reality in such a way that I'm rarely in it, only if I feel I need to engage with that. And most of the time, I'm probably holding it on a different level than I don't even need the direct interactions. Because what also happens is when I tend to go shopping, nobody's there.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's even there. So obviously, my own shame mirror is pretty clear, right? Because it usually takes two to tango. So I don't have enough there for that person to even really bounce off of me too much, I think, in that regard. I mean, just from a personal level,
Right.
in going out into the shame world, right?
I don't think you need to hear this as much, maybe, but I think the audience might. I would like for us to consider that when you see someone that has a mask and you don't, that truly what's happening on a pranikani level is they are saying to you, "Hi, I have some excess shame inside of me. Is it okay if you pull it out? Do you have time right now to give me some of your energy so I can help pull this shame out of me?" and you want to help. So you're like, sure, what do you need me to do? And they say to you, I'm going to wear a mask, even though it makes no sense at all, like scientifically, even though none of the evidence is where I'm going to wear a mask, and I need you not to wear one. And as I'm wearing that mask and you're not wearing one, it's going to cause this electrical charge to leave. The shame's going to be pulled out of my pores, and it would only work if you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And from what Amanda's saying about being a witness, it's I want to correct Kieran just very slightly here on saying it's you're not watching them bleed, Kieran. You're watching them heal. You're watching them produce a pollen that is necessary for everyone else around us. That pollen has to come out before we can grow. Before all of us can reach this apocalypse, we have to excrete, secrete, and excrete shame. Because when that shame comes out, what happens with our spine? Those people are able to align more. And when they align more, they become closer to God. They become better witnesses. They become better versions of themselves. They become capable of doing the same to someone else. Do you see? It's a it's such a perfect thing that's happening all around us. And when you're seeing anger, when you're seeing upsetness, despair, when you're seeing people freaking out, all you're doing is looking at energy that's never been allowed to come out before. That's all. Because we've been living in this society of nice cancer, where everyone has nice cancer and no one's allowed to express their feelings. So, what you're watching with the apocalypse is actually quite beautiful. It's beautiful because it is so violent. I'm talking about the real world, the real word violence. We live in a violent world. We have transactions. The ocean crashes into the shore every 3 seconds. It's a violent crash. It's not a, hey, is it okay if I hit you? No. That rock has said, I will be here for you. Fucking crash into me. And that's why when people hate me or hate Owen or probably hate you too, what they're really doing is they're showing you your trunk is so strong that I can beat it with a stick. And what I'm doing is I've come to this forest and I've looked for the tree that has the thickest bark and the one that can absorb my shock the most. And it is my honor to come to you and say, hey man, I'm gonna fucking hit you with this stick as hard as I can because I think you can take it. But none of us are looking at that as a compliment, right? We're looking at that as someone's taking something from me, and we miss our opportunity to truly understand that what they're doing is they're coming up to you and they're saying, "You're strong. You are so strong that I need you to help me extract this anger, this failure, this sense of abandonment, this shame, this regret. I need all of this to extract, and I can do it if I can just beat your shins to a fucking pulp. Can I do that, please?" And I swear that's where we're at. Like that's what we're doing for each other, where we know it or not.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, when I this is my life. This is my whole life. I mean, the naturopaths basically like gang stalked me, right? Well, it was split, which it always has been split. You got the more medicalized NDs and the more spiritualized NDs, right? So I had the support of the spiritualized ones, but the attack of the medicalized ones. And oh, the spewing hate toward me. And then I had, my name dragged through the media because I said publicly, I don't believe in the germ theory at all.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all a lie. And you can come into my store with a cold, a fever, cough, sputum. I don't care. It's not going to affect me. The contagion theory is incorrect as well. So we're good. And that was just what they needed, that piece that they needed to go, her. Let's use her. Let's scapegoat her because
Mm-hmm.
she can take it, right? Even though at first I had to do some work because actually it was so violent and it was a new level of violence for me. It was threatening my life type of violence, which I'd not experienced before. And so that took me to another level where I actually had moments where I was in poor me for a bit. It was
Mm-hmm.
an old blip. It was an old a story. that I thought I had completed. But obviously I hadn't. So I'm grateful for the situation, because I didn't know that I was still, that piece of the story was still sitting around. You know, that piece of garbage was on the ground. I didn't even know was there. And there it was. And I'm like, poor me, poor me. Oh, people don't like me, blah, 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 blah. And I did that dance for a few days and went, because I developed a second attention, like, okay, feel that poor me, do that, fine, do it for how long are you going to do it for? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you finally, okay, good. I went through that. I did it. It's in the garbage now. I'm clear. Awesome. Thank you. And I'm like, ooh, the merit. How's this going to play out? I'm so excited. I'm so excited because that amount of hate was, wow. I mean, you should have seen the emails, and it was amazing. And what did it do? What did it do? It elevated me.
Yep.
Actually, it elevated me to a point where I could find my tribe. You're one of them. It elevated me to a point where I felt that grounded, centered clarity of purpose, right? It helped me revalidate my statements to myself. So my marriage oath to myself, I did my vows again, you know, which strengthened it.
Nice.
Right. And look at me now. I feel awesome. And what did it do? It just helped people find me who needed to. And I did a service for those who were so angry, right? A huge service. And I did realize that, which was also showing me how far I've come, that I could even see that as a benefit rather than a terrible, terrible experience, right?
Yeah, I think it's a leveling up opportunity, and either you make it or you don't. If you walk, someone comes up to you and says you're an asshole, you are now adding up. What is my respect for this person? That's at 78%. What is my ego level today? It's at 4%. How is this transaction going to finish? And how you deal with that transaction, how you choose to handle that, is going to be directly reflective of where you're going to stand right after that transaction. Are you going to pass the test for the green belt? Are you able to take it one more step and not absorb it? That would be failing, wouldn't it? I'm talking about giving it witness. I'm talking about giving that person so much witness as they call you that name or they say this or they say that, that it's not even about it. It's not that it doesn't affect you guys, because saying that it doesn't affect you is fucking it affecting you. It just in a way that doesn't look, guilty. All right. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
your damn self already.
It's about this compassion. It's about this idea of, look at the chance I have to show a capacity of compassion that I've never been able to show before. This is the ability to jump, to do a jumping squat 6 feet up. I've never done one that big. I've never shown compassion this deep for this strong of a person. How am I going to respond to that? What's going to be the result? And that's truly that's the vitriol we want to face every day. We want that. We want to leave our house in the dojo, and hopefully we're not found a way to secure ourselves. I have to watch out for this because I'm resourceful. I could live my entire world in a bubble. I could live my entire world where no person ever penetrates my field and endangers me. Thank God I'm not doing that. But I could. That's something I have to fight. I have to make myself come out more. I have to make myself do that over and over and over and over again. But all these are opportunities to either grow or not grow. And there's certain things I won't do. There's certain things I won't try yet because I haven't been forced to do that yet. And I'm analyzing the amount of calories and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that yet. Every single day is an opportunity for this, to grow or fall. And you don't fall in a bad way. It's as soon as you fall, you have an opportunity to springboard it up times 10 because you're able to experience that idea of falling and rising back up again. That's a very, very powerful part of the recipe. So you could be setting yourself up to fall, knowing you're going to come right around and scoop it back up again and triple bounce it. It's all of this is opportunity. There's nothing around you but opportunity. It doesn't matter how much someone hates you or how much someone loves you. They're giving you fucking opportunity. It's how you deal with it that determines what's going to happen. That's why I bitch about people saying fear is bad. I'm saying you don't know that fear is bad because you've turned it into fear when actually it's electrical energy. And you're calling it fear before you even know what to process it because you're calling electrical energy fear. When a bear comes out of the woods, you do not have fear. Not yet. Not yet. You don't. You have a flow of electricity. You have a flow of current. That's all that's happened. The only thing that's happened is your Scotty fucking called up the engines and put it in fucking warp 10 and put all the shields up. That's all that's happened. That's not fear. That's power. That's power. You turn it into fear by saying, I'm scared. And why do you say you're scared? Because you were taught that when you feel power, you say you're scared. You've been fucking taught that. You've been taught that since day one. And you've been taught that because it's waiting for you to rebuke that. It's waiting for you to prove that wrong. It's waiting for you to say, wait a minute, this is power. This isn't
that
fear.
The problem with the limbic system informing the lobes, the brain, right? It basically is saying, like what I was saying with the child. Mm-hmm. So when you've got a big feeling, a big energy coming through you, and then you're trying to identify it and then get it down to a need. But what I always find true about life is it's always both ways. So as much as you're going to break that down and try to sort that out and maybe even make a mess of that, right? Then as you mature, you start to realize it's all energy. And then you just get in the full limbic system response mode of whatever that is, whatever that tells you, the fire's hot or whatever the feedback is. But that's I talk about the pendulum swing all the time. You got to go to one level, then the other level, so you can see the spectrum, and then you go through the Trinity and you master that, right? Because you can have compassion upon all the different facets of that complete pendulum swing, right? And then you've got the totalitarianism, sorry, wrong word, but total picture. Totalitarianism is what people really like right now. But you've got the total picture in your head of that spectrum, and that's a mastery. That's to have that, right? And the other thing I want to say that I was thinking about when you're talking was how, so when you said about absorbing it, that we shouldn't do that. Well, as the feminine aspect, I do that. I was one of my biggest problems.
Yep.
Biggest problems. I absorbed it all the time and thinking I had to. That was thinking I had to, getting myself sick doing that, taking away people's energy and taking away people's experiences of healing, not a lot, just magically making their everything go away rather than the fixer, that thing, right? Rather than allowing them the process and what they needed to get. My spiritual teacher would say to pick all the flowers out of that garden. I denied them that. But the masculine has to temper it a different way, because the masculine is the complete opposite, like, right? That, that vitriol, as you speak of, right? And sometimes that needs to be tempered back. So the feminine has to temper it the other way, and the masculine has to temper it this way into that space that's not so hurting to the self.
Right. Salt and oil, right?
Yeah, that balance. And that takes time, and that takes all these experiences, and that takes making a million mistakes, right? Which we need. We grow through mistakes. If we don't allow mistakes, then if we shame people, I think a lot of this shame, honestly, that we're seeing is from childhood being denied, like meaning they weren't allowed to screw up. I mean, what happens when you spill something on the ground? And I'm guilty of it too. I had to correct my own behavior because it's just what happened to me. So it's what you do forward, right? Was, oh man, like, God, what the hell? I gotta do this now, right? What's that child gonna go? Oh my God, do not ever make a freaking mistake. Holy Lord, I got in real trouble for that, right? We learn how to we shouldn't. And then what happens is save up all those damn mistakes for when you're a teenager. And then you make all the mistakes.
Well, what is puberty really? Like, are we really pretending that what happens naturally with what we call natural with puberty is that really how? Is that chemical explosion of just shame squirting that ejects from our skin? Is that really natural, or is that just a byproduct of dissonance? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, guys, think about it.
It's, yeah. I've seen teenagers, I've seen adolescents that are smooth sailing.
Mm.
Why? Because they grew up in a lifestyle that allowed them to go through everything they needed to go through without judging them or shaming them or putting them in a box or labeling them or whatever it was, whatever
Mm.
that dysfunctional situation was. And they definitely don't go through that. It's a completely different experience. And I remember watching these teenagers going, what is different about these kids?
Mm.
And I was like, this is the type of adolescent I would like to be around. That was really quietly observing is what they were like. And they certainly weren't talking in this silly affect and behaving really where they were stuck emotionally, because I've seen that. I've seen that emotional stuck place in a lot of adults
Mm.
where they had a trauma event that they didn't have a good witness there for them, so they can't get past it.
Yep.
You know,
Goes both
and
ways.
yeah,
Kids are such, like you were talking about earlier, kids are such a good witness. I think that's why parents like to hang out without their children. I think that's honestly why most of us send our kids to school, because it's like, I don't want to be witnessed all the time. Not by him, not by my kid. Let this boss witness me. He'll pay me to witness me. I'll do that. I don't mind doing that. And we think that's okay. And that really is that's what adolescence is right now in this world. We abandon our family every day. Every single day, we abandon our core family. We abandon our core tribe. We abandon our neighborhood. We abandon everything to go out. And we pretend that it's because we're enslaved, and it's not. It's because the prana economy tells us, I would rather do this. I have found a way out. I have found a way to avoid my son's witness. And that's why people are like, no, I don't want kids coming to this event all the time, because it's like they don't want that witness. They would like to be away from that witness. And I get that. I don't have kids, so I don't know what it's like to have that constant witness. You
it's
know,
hard work. I'll tell you right now.
and it has to be. It has to be. It has to be. There's no way it couldn't be. And that's beautiful, right? It's showing us a thermometer of where we could be.
And I've learned that the most authentic, my child appreciates her authentic mother. Actually, my child appreciates when I'm upset, I cry. She appreciates when I'm feeling frustrated that I tell her how I feel. She appreciates when I make mistakes and I own up to them and say sorry.
Mm-hmm.
She sees me as a human capable of mistakes and also a hero in her mind too, both. And she's growing up then being softened to her own mistakes, where she understands that they're learning experiences, and that she is got a mother who in her eyes is perfect in every way, and perfect in every way means she's authentically being honestly herself. And that to me was the greatest gift I could give my child, because I want her to accelerate and not have to go through, make as much garbage to pick up as I did, because I think that's the gift to the next generation, rather than carrying a burden forward, which again is also a gift. Both are true. This is the thing. People don't understand paradoxes. They don't understand that both things can also be true. And I do, and I always have. And I think that's one, if there's anything if I could had a magic wand and can magically make everybody understand, would be paradoxes. But so meaning that if you pass on challenges down your lineage, it's a gift. But also if you pass down less challenges, it can also be a gift too.
Sure.
Both
Yep.
can be true.
Kids will find their own trauma. They will be drawn to it because their body needs it to alchemize, right? So even if you give them a perfect slate, what you're really doing is just giving them a more clear slate for them to create their own trauma that they need to have it happen. And that's beautiful. My mom is so fucking wise. I used to hate her for it because it felt like it was cold. What I mean by that is my mom would watch me get in a relationship with someone that she knew was going to destroy me, that she knew that my son is going to burn now because he's going to be with this woman. And I'm not going to tell my son this is a mistake. I'm not going to do it because my mom looked at that and saw me as this is an opportunity for my son to have vitriol. And it fucking sucks. And she would say that. She'd say, when you met her and brought her home, it was the saddest day of my life. And I'm like, why the fuck didn't you tell me that? And she's like, you'll never understand. You don't understand. I love you so much that I didn't say anything. That's how much I loved you. And I don't think people understand how fucking cool my mom is for doing that. That takes a special, it's what Amanda was getting at earlier. When Amanda's not there to fix everything, she's there to give it witness. And that is the most compassionate thing you can truly do because you have trust in that person. Amanda trusts her patient. My mom trusts her son. She trusts that this would work out. That this was supposed to happen. It's not. She didn't trust it would work out. She knew it would not work out, and she was exactly right on exactly the right day, at exactly the right time, in exactly the right way. Literally every single thing that happened in my marriage, my mom knew was going to happen. She's like, yeah, then this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, then you're going to get really fucking hurt, and then this is going to happen, then you're going to fucking double down, James, and you're going to try this even more, and then you're really going to burn. And I don't even like looking at this. And she knew every step of the way because she was a good witness. This is all about being a witness.
Yeah. And it's a really humble journey to realize that, first of all, one of the things that my spiritual teacher kept telling me is, don't you dare put the trust on somebody else. It's not your business to do that. Mm-hmm. What you do is you're the trust. You trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, that means others, you're inviting others to become trustworthy. It's the modeling thing all over.
Interesting.
Again.
It's yeah.
So I don't ever say I trust you to that person. I don't do that because it's subtle, but it's saying I'm basically telling you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I trust myself that my interaction with you is going to naturally bring out your authenticity and trustworthiness, that you will want to be trustworthy yourself in my presence. And that's a big difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's profound. These are all things for us to learn. All things. Yeah. I think we should probably wrap it up because
definitely.
It's just because of the time.
We could do this until we were like, I'm so parched. Yeah. I want.
But let's talk first about the electrical field of the ego. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. We don't want to explode the multiverse or wherever the heck we are.
Thank you for being you, Amanda. Thank you for showing me an aspect of myself. Thank you for coming in my life. Thank you for doing this chat. It's been a real pleasure.
Thanks for being true, James. True, and I really love our connection, and I appreciate the fact that I'm able to speak this way, as opposed to always having to be didactically engaged in my cerebrum in a way that I have to always be fact and evidence and science all the time. But we can discuss things with imagery, which I love to do, being a Pisces moon and a dreamer. My whole existence is imagery and visualization. So just that alone is like candy for me. So this has been great. And I look forward to our doing this like more.
Yeah.
It'd be a regular for everyone watching. I think we're going to do a regular Friday night event. And, maybe we'll be busy sometimes, but for the most part, I think we're going to try 6:00 Friday nights going forward. Once I learn how to do it on my channel, I think we were talking about, 1 week do your channel, 1 week do the other, or do it somehow where we're on both at the same time. I don't know, whatever that looks like. When James teaches me how to do that, then we will be blasting it in a few different locations. But Friday nights, so because we don't go out partying and drinking and vomiting.
You didn't have to say that, you know.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
We go out. It just happens to be that we're fishians, and Friday is fish night, and we don't go out on Friday night. It's actually very difficult for us to stave off all of our social requests to go out, and we're doing that purely as a sacrifice to the people in chat. I mean, it's purely out of the goodness of our generosity that we're staving off all the offers that we have to go out to stay here and do this.
Okay.
All right.
We put that straight.
Thank you, Amanda. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna hit end now and say goodbye.
Bye.
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 I thought I was hitting end. There we go. All right, guys, you've just seen the amazing and effervescent Amanda Vollmer. You can find her channel on YouTube if you're not already there. And now that she's not here and not listening, I'll tell you all about her. I'm just kidding. She's probably in chat. The channel where she's at, I bet you someone's going to find it before I, which would be awesome. But I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. I'm just going to go to YouTube and just type in Amanda. There it is. And there's her channel right there. And here it comes. And you guys should subscribe. That would just make her day, I bet. There you go. There's the channel. Look at that. Antarctic Bear did it too. Thanks, guys. There were some dicks in the pool today. A lot of dicks in the chat. I just want to say good job being a dick. Those of you that were being a dick. Some of you were censored and shouldn't have been. Celtic Bear got mad because I accidentally timed her out. Seriously, Celtic Bear, if you want to stop me in the middle of a fucking chat to ask me to take your wrench away because you cannot handle responsibility, why the fuck are you pissed at me for timing you out? I get that we're supposed to really enjoy and always be nice to each other, but fuck, man. You're asking everyone to stop what we're doing because you're afraid to have a wrench. That's pretty freaking weird if you ask me. So, but yeah, we're going to have to fix this chat thing. It's too much censoring. Way too much censoring is going on. There's a lot of squirters too. A lot of people are still mad about Lucifer. I get that. You hated my chat today about Lucifer. You couldn't believe I said those things. I get it. Okay. So hopefully this will work out because honestly, I'd rather us stay focused on the conversation and not have to deal with so many dicks in the pool. So, yeah, what happened to Wrench Pride? Exactly, King X Club. Yeah, it was a great show. Despite all that, it was a great show. And thank you. The rest of you guys were kicking ass in chat, trying to do the best with it, trying to deal with those dicks in the pool. So I applaud you. I don't mean to say dicks in the pool so much, but man, ever since this Lucifer thing, the Lucifer live stream that I did today and yesterday, it's just been nonstop, just squirter attacks from every direction. It's crazy. I realize that this is a pranic economy and I'm providing people with the ability to expunge and project themselves as to they're providing me with the same thing. So this is something I will work on. I will learn to be a better witness of the dicks in the pool. That's my problem. I will work on that. Thank you guys so much for being here. D Live, you guys are kicking over there, right? Yep, 167. Thank you guys so much for being here. Great show, James. Thanks, Spicy Star. Explaining shit gate laboratories. Don't know what that means. D Live is so chill compared to YouTube. You were right, oh man, Vasya. Wow, you're right. It is like a different atmosphere completely over here in D Live. Just want to point that out. You guys that are on YouTube, if you find that the YouTube maybe is a little bit harsh, here's a link to D Live. You can follow me, and by following me that, you can check it out and just experience it differently. Today, in fact, I did a special only on D Live, which was a post-show wrap-up answering questions about the Lucifer stream. You can do that by going to D Live, scrolling down to replays, and kick it there. I'd like to give a special shout out to my friend Candor, who took the time to screenshot for me this morning for my show. I really appreciate that, Candor. You're always bringing some serious thought to my plate. And not only that, but you're burning some calories for me, so thank you. Another shout out to OKC Bear for helping me with the mod. He's always on point. He's always trying to help me make the chat better. Subscriptions are coming in D Live. I've been told that at the end of the month that will be installed. That is because I'm new. That's why I don't have it yet. I would love it if you guys can throw me some lemons. I really would. I really want to turn this into a regular thing and show. I really want us to do great things together. The best apocalypse ever. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Keep it rocking. And we'll see you next time.